Welcome back. Today we're going to be predicting every starting lineup for the 2026 season. We know some information about some teams on how they're going to go, but if they kind of have announced their starting lineup, I'm going to go with what I think they should do and why. I mean, there's not too much of a I don't know, incentive behind this video. It's just kind of talking about talking about basketball, excuse me. So I want to go through every team and say some teams I'll explain why I think they should do this. Some teams I won't. Some teams also have announced injuries. I kind of took like Tatum's not for the Celtics, obviously. Halliburton's not for the Pacers. Kyrie's not for the Mavericks. But there are some teams that I'm not 100% sure on still. So I probably have people in here that shouldn't start, but we'll get there when we get there. But before we get there, like and subscribe. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We're close. We're close. We're close. We're close. I want to get there. I want to get there soon, right? Hopefully we can. But also leave comments and questions, suggestions in the description below. And yeah, let's get to the first starting lineup. So we're gonna start the Boston Celtics. So Peyton Pritchard's already been announced as a starter over Anthony Simon. So I'm going to go Pritchard. I'm going to go Derek White, Jalen Brown, Chris Boucher, and Neemias Queta. Obviously no Tatum. I think we will have times where Joe Mazzulla is going to experiment and have Pritchard, Simons, White, and Brown all in the game at once. But I think size, they having Boucher, who's looked pretty good for them, and Queta in, I think is just going to make the most sense. So I've got the Celtics with again Pritchard, Derek White, Jalen Brown, Chris Boucher, and Neemias Queta. I think I said his name two different times, but you know what I mean. Next, we've got the Brooklyn Nets, who I have no clue. I assume it would be something of Jaeger Demon, Cam Thomas, MPJ, and Claxton, right? Now that's obviously only four people, but that fifth guy, I just put as Zaire Williams. I'm not too sure if I'm being honest. Again, there are different ways that they could go. They could go with it. And now that I think about it, did I forget to do a team? I think I did. I figured it out. I didn't have the Grizzlies on my list. Um, so I'm gonna say them before I forget. But yeah, the Nets, I really don't know. The team's probably gonna be the worst team in the league. But Grizzlies, since I don't have them written down, let me do it right now. Even though Ja is going to miss the start of the season. But I'm just gonna say Ja. I'm gonna say KCP, Jalen Wells, Jaren and Edie. With John not being there, I would assume we go Ty Jerome, and if not Ty Jerome, then Scottie Pippen. Knicks, same lineup as last year: Brunson, McHale, Hart, OG, and Cat. I assume they are going to experiment with having Mitchell Robinson at the 5, Cat at the 4. Who comes off the bench now? I assume Josh Hart, but I don't know. I think that's the best lineup they could go with. Um, my favorite for the East to win the East. Sixers. Again, some of these guys are hurt, but when healthy, I would go with Maxi, VJ, Kelly Oubre, Paul George, and Embiid. They got guys like Trent Watford over there. I think Eric Gordon and Kyle Lowry are still there. McCain won't be there to start the season. Ooh, they actually have Quentin Grimes. VJ Edgecombe's not going to start, huh? So never mind on that. I think it's actually going to be Quentin Grimes. I didn't think about him when I was originally writing this. Raptors, quickly RJ, Ingram, Scotty Barnes, and Jakob Poeltl. I mean, I don't really think there's even a question unless you're bringing like RJ off the bench and you're going to throw in some shooting like Grady or something. But I don't think there's much of a question there. Cavs, Garland, Donovan Mitchell. I would go DeAndre Hunter, especially with Max Strus, who I don't think will be ready to start the season. I don't actually know if Garland will either. Mobley and then Allen. One of the best lineups in the league that you could put together. Bulls, I would go Giddy, Kobe White, probably Patrick Williams, Buzelis, and Vucevic. I mean, I know Patrick Williams, Bulls fans aren't in love with. Vooch should not even be on this team, but I think Giddy, White, and Buzelis are complete locks. Obviously, I mean, I think Vooch is obviously he's a lock while he's there, but how long will he be there for? Don't really know. Pistons, same as last year. Cade, Ivy, Asar, Harris, and Duran. See what Ivy will give you this season. Sar Thompson, all defensive team this year. So where I'm going, most improved player. I think he might be my favorite for it. Duran's one of the better bigs, the young bigs in the league. So, and then Harris was reliable last year. Pacers, obviously, they have no Halliburton, but we're going to go Nemhard, Mather, Neesmith, Siakam, and Isaiah Jackson, I guess. Maybe like, is Jay Huff over there now? I think. Is James Wiseman still there? I don't. I would assume it's. They might also do like throw Siakam at the 5, start Obi. I don't know. I don't think they should do that, but I guess there's a world. Bucks, Kevin Porter Jr., Gary Trent, Kyle Kuzma, Giannis, and Miles Turner. I'm sure that's how the season will start. KPJ already has been named as the starting point guard. Maybe him and Cole Anthony get some time together at some point. Who knows? Atlanta Hawks, Trey Young, Dyson Daniels, Zachary Ricochet, Jalen Johnson, and Porzingis. Some people were like, you start Porzingis in a Kongwu, but then that puts either Ricochet or Jalen Johnson on the bench. And I don't know why you would do that. Kongwu's been coming off the bench for a while with Clint Capella, so he's fine with doing it for Porzingis, who, again, probably might not play as much as he should, because of the injuries. Hornets, LaMelo Ball, Colin Sexton, Brandon Miller, um, Miles Bridges. I almost forgot his name, and it's right in front of me. And then I guess Diabate. I wouldn't start Plumlee. I think having a guy like Diabate next to like LaMelo and stuff, lob threat wise, will be good. But their center, they probably have the worst center core in the league by far. Heat, I don't think Hero is ready to start the season, but he's in here. But I would go Davion Mitchell and Hero, Andrew Wiggins, Bam, and Ware. With Hero not being there, I assume Jaime Jaquez will be starting, even though he probably should start anyways. But when you have Wiggins over there and everything like that, and I think you're a fool if you bring Ware off the bench. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'm a big Ware guy, so I don't think he should be coming off the bench anyway. But if they do Bam at the 5, then I'm sure Jovic or Jaquez would slide in there. Magic, pretty easy. Suggs, Bane, Franz, Paolo, and Wendell. I don't really think there's even a debate there unless you pick another one of the other bigs like Mo Wagner, who I don't think is ready to start the year. And then Goga, I don't think would start. Wizards, I went all young. I know they got CJ and Middleton over there, but I went Bub, Trey, Bilal Coulibaly, Keyshawn George, and Alex Sarr. Obviously, again, I'm sure. I don't know if Chris Middleton will start, but I'm sure CJ will start for a little while. So that probably puts like Trey Johnson on the bench. Yeah, I mean, they got a lot of young pieces. Even, I mean, they still got Cam Whitmore over there. They got oh man. Oh man, I'm blanking. But I mean, I think I don't think Middleton would start, and I think they'll probably start CJ. So it might be Bubs, CJ, Bilal, Keyshawn, and Sar. And if they start both, then I guess I would go Bub, CJ, Middleton, Keyshawn George, and Alex Sar, I think. Nuggets, Jamal Murray, Christian Brown, Cam Johnson, Aaron Gordon, and Jokic. I mean that there's not really a debate there. I don't think you just swap out MPJ for Cam Johnson, who you traded for. Timberwolves. I just kept Conley in here. I don't know if they're going to do the DiVincenzo thing. I don't know. I'm sure at some point Dillingham will start a couple games here and there, depending on how he looks. But same thing: Conley, Edward, McDaniel's, Randall, and Gobert. Trailblazers. I think Scoot's hurt to start the season, but even if he was, I think they go Drew, Shaden Sharp, Tamani Kamara, Denny, Odia, and Klingon. I don't know what this means for Scoot's career with both Drew and Dame there. Obviously, Dame isn't there for at least the first part of the season or at all this season, but Next year they will be, and who knows if both. I mean, I assume Dame's gonna be here. I don't know what they do with Drew, um, but that sucks for Scoot's progression because that's why Dame was traded the first time. OKC, Shea, Dort, J-Dub, Chet, Hartenstein. Obviously, you can do the thing with Chet at 5, Hartenstein off the bench, but I think Hartenstein, value-wise, is someone that's hard to put on the bench. Jazz, Keontae George. I always do that. Keontae George, Ace Bailey, Markkanen, Filipowski, and Kessler. A huge lineup, 2 through 5, but at least until Markkanen is traded, or I guess Kessler, which is rumored to happen. I think this is how they should do it. I don't think you bring Ace Bailey off the bench. Um, Warriors, Curry, Pods, Jimmy, Draymond, Horford. You know me, I'm sick of the Draymond at 5 stuff. I don't think that is gonna work against many teams in the current NBA. That worked 6, years ago when centers were kinda not what they are, but now a lot of teams are doing double bigs. And, I mean, I don't want Jimmy and Draymond guarding, uh, like, what's a team that's gonna run 2 bigs? I don't want Jimmy and Draymond guarding Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. Like, not for a whole game. Obviously, they can do it, but I don't want them doing it the whole game. Clippers, this is really why I did this because they said they're bringing John Collins off the bench. I think that's a mistake. I would go Harden. Do you go Chris Dunn? Do you go Bradley Beal? Right. What I have on my notes is Chris Dunn, but I truly think you can go Bradley Beal if you do what I'm doing with this lineup. But I think Harden, Kawhi, Zach Collins, and Zach Collins. Oh my God, John Collins and Zubac should all start. Again, the Dunn or Beal thing up in the air, but I really think that John Collins would be perfect to fit next to Zubac and Harden, and even Kawhi, obviously. Lakers. This is another team where who's that fifth starter going to be? Obviously, you got Luca, you got Austin Reeves, you got LeBron James, and you got DeAndre Ayton. But who's that fifth starter going to be? I would go just straight defense and just throw Vanderbilt in at least to start the year. I don't think they go like small and start like a Marcus Smart or something like that. And then because then that means LeBron would be down to 4. Luca would probably be the Luca or Smart is the 3, but obviously positions in that case don't matter too much because it's not like the Luca's going to guard the 3 every night or the point guard every night. But I think you go Vanderbilt, even though he hasn't really played the last couple of years. But defensively, I mean, he's still who he is. Suns, I went Devin Booker, Jalen Green, Ryan Dunn, Dylan Brooks, and Mark Williams. I don't know if they'll maybe Nick Richards. Come on, Watch. I don't think would start. I think Mark Williams is the best big over there currently. And then they don't really have a lot of 4s. So Kings, Dennis Schroeder, probably Zach Levine, DeRozan, Keegan Murray, who is hurt, and Sabonis. I did actually have Malik Monk in here, but they did sign Dennis Schroeder. With Keegan Murray out, I mean, I don't really know what you do. Like who I'm definitely blanking on somebody, but I mean Keegan Murray when healthy is obviously going to start, so I'm just gonna leave it. Mavs, D'Lo, Clay, Cooper Flag, AD, and Lively. I mean, obviously when Kyrie's back, he'll be starting instead of D'Lo, but the Mavs are one of those teams, man. They got 10 to 12 real rotational players. So like even with injuries, they're gonna be fine, bro. They still got PJ Washington, Najee Marshall, they got Gafford, they got Max Christie. They've got is Jane Hardy still there? Like they've got so many guys still. Rockets with Fred Van Vliet going out, hard to say, but I am totally on ball for doing the amend Tari Eason, KD, Jabari, and Sengun thing. Just go big, just wings on wings on wings. Like, because Dorian Finney-Smith, I don't think is ready to start the year. I think he had a little procedure recently. Reed Shepard, I don't think is ready to start. Maybe they throw like an Aaron Holiday. I doubt it though. I think he'll play, but I don't know if he'll start. So I'm just throw Tari Eason in there, and then him or KD will be like the big ball shooting guard or whatever you want to call it. Pelicans, DeJounte Murray, again, don't think is ready, but I would go Jordan Poole, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, Zion, and Eves Missy. Obviously they got like Jeremiah Fears, they got Kevon Looney, they got Derek Queen over there, but Eves Missy had been starting for them anyways, and Kevon Looney is not that amazing anymore, so I don't really see why you would start him over at Eves Missy, who had a pretty good rookie season. And then Spurs, the last team, Fox, Castle, Vassell, Harrison Barnes, and Wemby. Dylan Harper, be off the bench. Jeremy Sohan, I think, like I've talked about this a couple times. I don't really know where Jeremy Sohan's I don't really know what his future holds because I don't really think he fits on this team too well, but he's obviously only in like his fourth season, I think it'll be this year. So they've got time, he's got time, but very soon, I mean, he's going to need to be paid. We're going to need to determine. And being honest, this team is only going to get better. Like a guy like him could get pushed out. A guy like Devin Vassell at some point could get pushed out or traded because people are going to want to come and play with Wemby. So yeah, I think Fox, Castle, Vassell, Harrison Barnes, and Wemby is how you would run that. I'm sure there's going to be times where they have minutes where Luke Cornett's also playing. Where Luke Cornett is also going to play with Wemby. Kelly Olynyk might play a little bit because they're, those are guys that can kind of complement each other for a few minutes a game. But other than that, that is me saying how I think every team should do their starting lineup. Obviously, there are some questions in the air. There's obviously some injuries that we're going into the year with. But I mean, that's how I would do it. Again, I think the big ones are like, I mean, a lot of the Cali teams between the Lakers, Clippers, Warriors, like I think those questions are kind of up in the air. I think obviously the Rockets one is up in the air. Who else? Sixers again. Who knows who's ready to go with PG and Embiid and everything. So, and then there are some bad teams like the Nets. I don't know who that fifth star is going to be. So, but thank you for watching. Remember to like, subscribe. Comment. I'm on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Season is officially a week away. That's crazy. The NBA season's a week away. We're gonna have so much stuff being put out every week. And tomorrow, you guys get a new NBA show from me where I'm gonna rank the top 10 power forwards and center, so we can get those done. And next week's episode will be strictly reacting to opening day. So I'm excited about that. But again, thank you for watching. Road to 1,000 subscribers. Like, subscribe.